All right, welcome back, everyone. We begin with the good news. The European Union has never been as influential politically and economically as it is today. It has the largest market in the developed world, and there is a long list of countries hoping to become members. Now, the flip side. Several members, from Ireland to Portugal, are struggling to remain solvent, and the euro is in trouble. Greece's debt crisis is so huge it threatens to destabilize the entire eurozone. Some people have begun to ask if the European project has a future.
There's a whole generation of Greeks growing up in fury. Fury at their government, its austerity measures, and at their own helplessness. It often spills over into rioting in the streets of Athens. Their rage is directed at politicians, their own as well as those in Brussels and in Berlin. Some even compare the EU to Nazi Germany. How could things have gotten this bad? December 2009, with EU leaders gathered in Brussels, Greece's new socialist prime minister, George Papandreou, admitted that Athens had a serious debt problem. Greece, a member of the Eurozone, had been fiddling its budget numbers for years. The response from one of the Euro's wealthiest members was one of detachment.
We will talk with those who have serious problems to see how we can keep the euro stable.
There was little sign of solidarity, of Eurozone members standing together no matter what. Instead, Angela Merkel took a tough line. From the start, it was clear that the Iron Chancellor didn't want to offer 1 cent in help. The financial markets fueled speculation that Greece and other debt-ridden Euro members might go broke. The breakup of the Eurozone was suddenly no longer unthinkable. It had all started with so much hope. In October 2007, EU leaders celebrated after signing the Lisbon Treaty to reform the EU's institutions. The hard-fought compromise was supposed to make everything better, bring Europe closer together, make it more effective and responsive, and above all, guarantee peace and prosperity in a united Europe. This grand concept of a united Europe, of joining East and West, has since taken quite a battering. But why? A few days ago in Brussels, the EU president, a position created by the Lisbon Treaty, gave a policy think tank an insight into how he saw things.
Ladies and gentlemen, the state of the Union is not so bad, even if the mood is not so good.
There's a sense of frustration, even in Brussels, where many are avid supporters of the EU.
We need a little more of that magic potion of the values on which Europe is built. The rights that citizens have, the freedoms that they enjoy.
It's probably because the geopolitical situation has changed extremely quickly. That's something no one expected on this scale. The growth in Asia, the realignment of international powers pushing into new areas, and the huge changes in Northern Africa.
The war in Libya has revealed a wide range of European positions. France and Britain are giving the rebels military support. Germany is sitting on the fence. So much for a united foreign policy. Meanwhile, refugees fleeing war and turmoil are being sent from one country to another. No one wants them. And within Europe, border police are checking passports again. The goal of an open Europe seems to be on hold. The Schengen Agreement on open borders in retreat.
When a country temporarily reinstalls controls at the inner border, then suddenly the life of the Schengen area is in danger. Last example, these incidents are added to the sovereign debt crisis in the Eurozone.
That crisis is taxing minds in Brussels and threatening to shake the European project to its very foundations. This week, former Athens Mayor Dora Bakoyannis of the opposition Democratic Alliance was in Brussels to lobby for more understanding for her country.
We've gone through a very difficult period, during which Greece was portrayed in a really cruel way.
On a visit to her Liberal Party's allies in the European Parliament, Bakoyannis lobbied for more investment in Greece's economy. There's a growing awareness of the need for cross-party unity.
The government and the opposition in Greece must now reach a consensus.
We asked Dora Bakoyannis if her pro-business opposition party is prepared to support the socialist government's austerity program, to send a signal to finance markets.
The markets don't need a signal for this government, they need a signal for the program.
In other words, no, this opposition politician will not support her country's government. So, what options remain? Last week, a cathedral in Brussels celebrated a Mass for Europe. The EU is not yet down to its last prayer, but those days may not be far off.
All right, let's pull in our Brussels correspondent, Jeff Mead. Jeff, let me ask you, do you get a sense here that the European project is beginning to unravel?
Well, I don't know if it's actually beginning to unravel, but certainly I get a sense that senior people who normally would not even countenance discussion of such a thing are happy to talk about it as a possibility, because if there's a euro problem of the magnitude we're facing in Greece, there's no question that it has serious political as well as economic ramifications. It just changes the whole perception of what the European Union is supposed to be about. It is the core policy of Europe. It is the proudest achievement, absolutely without question, since the common market was created, as far as the founding fathers are concerned and their successors. So if Greece were to come out of the single currency, it would be a political catastrophe. It genuinely would. Wouldn't mean Europe would end tomorrow by any means, but it would change the whole perception of what the EU is.
Jeff, what are you expecting from the discussions on Greece? Because Greece is obviously the most pressing problem right now for the EU.
Yes, but unusually at this summit, instead of coming here waiting for EU leaders to make great pronouncements, the EU leaders are here waiting for great pronouncements from Greece. There won't be any great decisions made. Of course, lots of talk behind the scenes, public statements of support for the process that's ongoing in Greece to rectify its economy and the world's help in doing so. But no great decisions. All eyes are on next week's meeting of the Greek Parliament to try to vote through an austerity package without which the EU leaders are reluctant to offer any more money. And there's got to be something done by July the 15th. That's the deadline for Greece being able to pay up its next tranche of debts.
Talk to me a little bit, Jeff, about the power dynamics in the European Union. I mean, the Greek crisis obviously testing every level right now of the EU. What about Germany? What's Germany standing right now?
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, Germany's always been in this position of being the European Union powerhouse, financially, politically, almost emotionally, you could say, the big beast in the jungle. And there came a point at the start of this economic crisis when Angela Merkel was saying, quite politely, enough, no more. You can't just look to Germany as the great money box where you can just come and raid every time. And there was a lot of frustration amongst other EU leaders and money markets too at German reluctance to get involved, which slowed down the pace of aid for Greece initially, then Ireland. But of course, from Angela Merkel's point of view, Germany has always been the paymaster. She has problems at home to look after. And the Germans, I think, as a nation, are just fed up of being treated as the money bags. You know, that's where you go when you want cash in Europe. So I think there's a change of perception in Germany. There's a perception that even Germany now, one of the founding member states, looks to its own sometimes, as indeed to many other member states, when the going gets tough.
All right. Jeff Mead's for us there in Brussels. Jeff, thank you very much. And that has been our in-depth report on the future of the European Union. I'm Brent Goff in Berlin. We'll see you next time.